Hey there, it's Rusty Nelson, your college art professor, and we're talking watercolor today. So, let's see here. It's vlog 76, and we're on episode 39 for the year. So, welcome new viewers, anybody who stumbled onto this channel. I am Rusty Nelson, a soon-to-be retiring college professor, and I'm doing YouTube videos on watercolor and drawing, a lot of figure drawing, portrait drawing, and ink drawing tutorials. So anybody interested in maybe getting started on a creative journey, learning how to draw, how to paint, this is the channel to come to. I have started a lot of careers in graphic design over the last 28 years. That's the field in which I teach, is graphic design. But I'm old enough. I started graphic design back in the days of pre-computer, when everything we did was hand drawn using markers and pencils and colored pencils and all those things. We had to visualize everything by hand with traditional media. We have the same skill sets as studio artists. We are just applying it in a commercial manner. And I worked for advertising for about 15 years before coming into higher education. I went back and got my graduate degree at the same time I was starting a business. So I got that up and off the ground, and had my own business for about 6 or 7 years before I sold it and moved it into higher education, where I took all these skills I learned pre-computer and at the time moving into the digital realm, into graphic design. I brought that into higher education and have been teaching 20-year-olds how to get started in advertising and graphic design for the last 28 years. So, but I'm getting old. I'm approaching retirement. I'm looking forward to it. And I thought, man, I needed something to do in retirement. I do enjoy teaching, but it's time for something new. And I started this YouTube channel about 2 years ago. And it's been going well, been having a lot of fun, been learning a ton of stuff about being a content creator and being on camera, speaking to a camera. So, and that's really the intent of this vlog, is just for me to have more time on camera and practice. It's pretty much the same skill sets that I try to get through to people as they're learning how to draw and to paint with watercolor. Is you just got to practice. You got to put in your reps, get in there and do it, and you're going to figure out and get better at it and gain in confidence. And pretty soon it will hopefully come through in the content that I'm posting out there, or the artwork that you're producing, as you grow in your skills and your understanding of the media. So that's what I'm doing here, this talking watercolor vlog and podcast. Let's see here, new videos this coming week. I'm going to be working on a landscape with trees in it. So I did have a request not too long ago that I needed to do another tree tutorial. It's been quite a while since I did a tree tutorial. So this one's going to be kind of fall colors, and I think it's aspen trees. So it's going to be a very colorful piece. I'm going to do it on good paper, good slow, high quality watercolor paper. So it's going to be something I want to try to make look really good. It won't be quite as rushed and as hit or miss as some of my other quick down and dirty tutorials get you up and running with the techniques and such. So yeah, I'm going to put a little effort in this one. I'm going to give it the old college try and see how it turns out. Comments have been good. Let's see here. I've had several comments commenting about last week's talking watercolor and the my my excitement about getting close to retirement. And it is, this last year is really kind of flying by. I really see it in this semester. We're into week 9 this week. I've got one semester after this left. That'll be something interesting, to have the time to really kind of sit down and develop some of these tutorials a little better. Anyway, nobody's requested anything this week. People asking about colors again. That one small palette I have, it's just that the standard colors that come in that set. So whenever I order a pan, I'm just working with the colors that come with the pan typically. And if I run out of any colors, it's pretty standard colors. I don't typically use anything very exotic when it comes to the colors. You know, burnt sienna, burnt umber, raw sienna, yellow ochre, or the earth tones and things like that, and then just primary blue. Uh, since I do have that background in graphic design, I do like a short color palette, something with CMYK or RGB, and supplement it with some earth tones and maybe a violet even, but keep it fairly simple. Just rely on the mixing. You really don't need a great big wide color palette of colors, because if you have the primary colors, you should be able to mix just almost anything you would need in a watercolor. So, but I did want to kind of go in and talk a little bit about, if you are that new person coming in mid-career, maybe you got away from your watercolors and your artwork a long time ago. Life got in the way. Maybe you started a family, your career became all consuming, and you never really had a chance to work on your visual stuff, or you're closing in on retirement, and you're going to want something to do other than watch TV and or play golf. So, and then also that person out there who is in retirement and looking for something to do, and really wanting to get started. So some of the basic things, getting started, that I would recommend for anybody is just to get some sketchbooks or drawing paper. It doesn't have to be expensive stuff. A range of pencils. You can draw with anything. One of the assignments that one of my colleagues up at the university would have the students do with newsprint is to get one of those big chunky pieces of charcoal, compressed charcoals, take their shoes and socks off, and then draw with their feet, just so they realize that it doesn't matter, how or what. I've even seen her do it where she had them burn sticks and create their own charcoal, and draw with the burnt end of the sticks and stuff like that. So it's really about your intent and how you apply and use the media. So it doesn't have to be fancy stuff or anything like that. So you're just really needing to practice and develop the ability to make a mark that's interesting. That is the rock bottom basic thing that you have to get over and get started with. Whether you're starting a drawing journey or a watercolor journey, is just get comfortable with mark making and realizing that that mark carries so much of all your intent, your confidence, your insecurities. Everything flows down from your brain through your shoulder, through your elbow, into your wrist, through that finger, onto the piece of paper, through that media, whether it's a pencil, charcoal, color pencil, whatever, a brush, a watercolor brush, all of that. It's about just being confident with what you're doing. But there are so many other things that you're juggling as you're trying to make that confident mark. Uh, Understanding shapes and forms, just those basic uh, design elements and principles. That's your quiver of arrows that you're going to be using to solve these visual problems, translating those things you see in 3D out there to the 2D plane, that piece of paper on your desktop. Uh, Understanding perspective. Get in there and really work on understanding 1 point, 2 point, and 3 point perspective. You probably will be using 1 and 2 point the most. If you're a city dweller and you have a lot of tall, high-rise buildings and stuff, you'll be implementing and working with 3 point. I'm from Kansas, so rarely had to use 3 point perspective unless we were real close to a silo or a windmill or something like that. Not a lot of height out there for a flatlander to work with. But yeah, definitely being able to see shapes and draw the shapes accurately, and then relationships. What relationships one shape has to another. Is it a light shape? Is it a dark shape? What color is it? Do they meld? If they are the same tone, the two shapes become one shape. You lose the edge. So there's all sorts of things that you're juggling and learning about just in the simple act of drawing. I'm working with my foundation observational drawing class this semester, and getting students up to speed with just those fundamental things starting out, and developing their hand at drawing so that they can take that skill set and move it into painting, move it into sculpture, move it into ceramics, move it into graphic design. So it all really comes down to those fundamental foundation skills you got to develop in your basic drawing abilities. So if you're going to get started doing this and wanting to get going with watercolor, go back, start with your fundamentals with drawing first, create a good value scale, understand how value plays into it, how to make a textural mark, how to make a structural mark. There are so many things, and a lot of these things I've covered in several different videos. Early on, I need to start a whole new semester for my channel in January and kind of go over some of the fundamental things again. I like doing that at least once a year. It's good for me as well in that it reminds me of the things that I have got to get through to everybody who's coming into the channel and watching my videos, so that they understand the skill sets that they have to know about and then work to develop. And the biggest secret out of that whole list of things I just gave you is you've got to do it. You've got to practice it religiously, consistently, single-mindedly, if you're really wanting to get good at this. And don't just take my word for it. Get out there and watch other content creators. There's some really good people out there developing a lot of good content. It's amazing the resources that you now have as somebody coming into this as an adult learner, that you used to have to go join an art league or something in whatever community, but or if you were out in the middle of nowhere, you had to I did this a lot. I had to get books and trade magazines and read about the processes and techniques to try them out, try to understand what the paragraph was trying to tell me that the artist was doing in this technique, and try it out and figure it out. So, but now with YouTube, you've got so many great content creators that are showing you their technique and the things they like showing their students out there. So I'm not the only one. I don't want to lay claim to you exclusively. Feel free to get out there and watch other artists as they're developing tutorials and demos, whether it's just them showing you what they do. They have spent so much time refining their techniques, or if they are an educator showing you how to get started themselves. So get out there, watch everybody out there, and just cram as much information into your head as possible. But take it in little spurts. Take and see something interesting, give it a try, and then just file it away. That's a new little arrow in your quiver that you can pull out and use whenever it's appropriate. So don't try to do everything all at once. You do have to develop this over time and practice. So, hey, I've been yakking for almost 15 minutes. So, hey, I'm glad everybody showed up and listened to me today. And we had a good visit. Went over a few things, but definitely get out there, get started. It doesn't get any better. You don't get any better at this unless you start doing it. So just get in there and do it. And don't worry about critique. Don't worry about anybody else other than you are in there putting in your reps and learning how to do it. The time to show off will come once you get a little better at it, and you're going to be going like crazy. So anyway, I hope you got some value out of today's talk. Please give me a like and a subscribe. Share this out there to friends, relatives, and neighbors. If they look like they need something creative to do, send them to the channel. We'll get them up and running as well. And I have a bunch of links in my video description for supplies, downloads on my website, all sorts of stuff out there in the video description. Plus, I have a Patreon channel. So if you think I'm doing anything on this channel worth a hoot, please give me a $5 a month membership. And I do have some resources, some digital products out on Gumroad. Take a look at that. They're a 15-week calendar and a 15-week syllabus of watercolor projects that'll get you up from a beginner level to an intermediate level watercolor artist. So get out there, check it out. I do appreciate the support, and I'll see you next week talking watercolor.